Lando makes excuses for bottling pole. Max reveals key reason behind pole position, and Ferrari is still hopeful for a win. Do consider subbing. Let's get into the latest F1 news. Max Verstappen has pulled off an incredible shock by clinching pole position for the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, surprising many fans and competitors alike. The Red Bull driver qualified fastest, outpacing McLaren's Oscar Piastri, marking yet another milestone in his exceptional career. Verstappen's lap was nothing short of extraordinary. He seized the opportunity to capitalize on the mistakes of others near the end of the session, managing to dethrone the championship leader in a thrilling climax. Piastri, who came in just a tenth of a second behind Verstappen, lost valuable time at the final corner as his McLaren wobbled, costing him the chance to take pole. In the context of the session, Lando Norris set a competitive third fastest time, while George Russell secured the fourth position alongside him. Lewis Hamilton, another favorite among the fans, fell slightly short, finishing fifth. Despite showing capable form, Hamilton faced the challenge of constantly evolving track conditions, which made for a tense qualifying session. As the qualifiers began, the weather played its part. A light drizzle fell on the Silverstone circuit, but it wasn't enough to warrant an early switch to intermediate tires. This meant the initially quiet track opened up for drivers like Gabriel Bortoleto and Nico Hülkenberg during the first few minutes. Soon enough, all 20 drivers became active on the track. Verstappen set the pace early on, clocking a fast time of 1:26.41 seconds, clearly asserting his dominance over the session. However, the competition was fierce, with Piastri quickly upping the ante and squeezing out a provisional pole position, albeit narrowly ahead of Verstappen by just 0.039 seconds. With 8 minutes left to go, turmoil ensued when Franco Colapinto lost control of his Alpine at the final corner, spinning into the gravel and lightly touching the barrier. Although he managed to get back on track, the incident led to a red flag being waved, stopping the action while officials cleared the scene. This interruption lasted about 10 minutes, with the track drying off slightly despite the drizzle. Once the session resumed, lap times began to improve remarkably as drivers scrambled for a better position. An impressive performance from Oliver Bearman saw him shoot up to third, highlighting the improved track conditions. Meanwhile, some teams, including Ferrari, opted to gamble by keeping their drivers on used tires, which didn't bolster their positions as well as anticipated. Hamilton and Charles Leclerc found themselves struggling in 11th and 13th spots, respectively, as the session neared its conclusion. In a dramatic turn, some of the fastest laps came from drivers who had previously been on used tires. This had Hamilton in a clutch position as he temporarily claimed the second spot with a lap of 1:25.084 seconds just before the end. The session unfolded with excitement as the checkered flag waved, setting the grid for what promises to be a thrilling race day. As we gear up for the British GP, the spotlight is firmly on Verstappen, who has demonstrated once again that he is a force to be reckoned with. With fierce competitors like Piastri and Hamilton trailing closely behind, the tension is palpable. Fans and teams alike are left eager to see how the drivers will navigate the complexities of the Silverstone circuit during the race. Will Verstappen maintain his lead, or will one of the challengers rise to the occasion? Only time will tell. As qualifying for the British Grand Prix wrapped up, the action was fierce and the stakes were high. Oscar Piastri showed impressive form, initially clocking a time of 1:24.995 seconds, pushing him to provisional pole. Just behind him, Lewis Hamilton made his mark, finishing with a time that was just over a tenth. Unfortunately for Lando Norris, a mistake in his final attempt left him in third place, while Max Verstappen managed to secure fourth after being last out on track during the final minutes. George Russell also entered the fray early, briefly climbing to second before ultimately settling for fourth as the finishing orders shook out. Piastri's stellar performance seemed set to earn him pole until Verstappen delivered a stunning lap, near clocking in at 1:24.892 seconds, just edging Piastri out. Hamilton's chances slipped away as he encountered difficulties on his final lap, leaving him fourth. With the penalties factored in, Oliver Bearman would drop to 18th while Andrea Kimi Antonelli faces a similar setback, pushing Fernando Alonso and Pierre Gasly further up the grid. In the end, Verstappen took the coveted pole position, with Piastri hot on his heels and Norris securing third place. As we shift focus to the standings, it's worth noting the top drivers from qualifying round. These results set the stage for an exhilarating race on Sunday. With Verstappen, Piastri, and Norris all hungry for victory, the competition is sure to be intense. Stay tuned as we bring you all the highlights, insights, and results from the British Grand Prix. Lando Norris is making headlines after securing a fantastic third place in qualifying for the British Grand Prix. However, despite his promising position, he carries some doubts about how McLaren will perform during the race. Having had a strong outing in qualifying, Norris acknowledges that a significant challenge lies ahead on race day. The main issue? The swiftness of Max Verstappen's Red Bull on the straights. Norris believes that even with the benefit of DRS, they might struggle to keep pace with Verstappen, which could impact their race strategy. As we approach the race, it's clear that while McLaren has shown strength with their MCL 39s throughout the season, they've also revealed some vulnerabilities. According to Norris, these weaknesses will become apparent during the race. It's a competitive field at the British Grand Prix, and as the weekend unfolded, Max Verstappen positioned himself as the driver to beat, with him in pole position and flanked by McLaren teammates Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. The championship battle is heating up. Norris and Piastri are both in the mix, vying for top points in the standings. Despite their competitive performance, Norris admits that McLaren may find themselves between the dominant Red Bull and Ferrari in terms of overall speed. However, he remains hopeful about the race dynamics. With varying strategies and the potential threat of rain, he believes there will be numerous opportunities to secure positions, though the race will likely be tough and intense. Norris highlights the importance of strategy, suggesting that teams might employ different tactics to gain an edge. He also points out that the weather could play a significant role, adding another layer of unpredictability to the race. Yet, McLaren will need to be clever to overtake Verstappen, given his impressive straight-line speed. He also shared a candid observation regarding their performance with DRS. Currently, Norris feels that their DRS speed merely matches that of Verstappen, which could pose challenges when it comes to making crucial overtakes. Despite the potential for strong cornering speed, he fears that they might struggle to close the gap when it counts. As race day approaches, Norris's reflections serve as a reminder of the competitive nature of Formula One and the unpredictable variables that can influence the outcome. It will be fascinating to see how McLaren navigates these challenges and whether they can make the most of their strengths to contend with the likes of Verstappen. Keep an eye out for an exciting race as the teams battle it out on one of the most iconic tracks in motorsport. As the teams gear up for the 2025 British Grand Prix, Lando Norris shared his thoughts after a challenging yet promising qualifying session. He noted the complexities of racing on different track types, highlighting the contrast between high-speed circuits like the Red Bull Ring and the more medium-speed characteristics of Silverstone. Despite the higher speed nature of the track, it's a chance for teams to learn and improve. Norris acknowledged that while McLaren has shown strength at slower and medium-speed tracks, they've faced challenges at higher speeds, often losing ground to Max Verstappen and Red Bull. Yet his optimism shines through as he believes the team has plenty of opportunities ahead. Reflecting on his qualifying performance, Norris rated his session as reasonably smooth. He mentioned a bit of nervousness during Q1, where the competition was incredibly tight. Nonetheless, he found most of his laps improved, and he seemed content to secure a solid third-place finish. This year, eyes are also on Oscar Piastri, who is under scrutiny as he faces Lando Norris during this pivotal race weekend. Former F1 champion Damon Hill expressed that he doesn't sense Norris is overly concerned about any potential threats, emphasizing Norris's confidence as they head into their home Grand Prix. As we anticipate the race, the entire grid is set for a thrilling showdown. With teams like Haas making bold upgrades and drivers like Lewis Hamilton slightly hampered by telemetry surprises, the dynamics of the race are sure to unfold dramatically. Don't forget to stay connected while the action kicks off, following our channels for the latest updates, insights, and results from Silverstone. Who will come out on top in this exhilarating battle? Tune in. Lewis Hamilton faced disappointment after a crucial mistake cost him dearly in the final qualifying lap for the British Grand Prix. Despite showing promise throughout the session, Hamilton's hopes for a pole position slipped away when he made a critical error at a pivotal moment. Initially, Hamilton had a strong start to his final flying lap and seemed to be a contender for an impressive maiden pole position with Ferrari. However, things took a turn for the worse in the final complex of the track. He struggled with understeer at turn 16, which ultimately cost him precious time and prevented him from improving on his initial run during qualifying 3. As a result, Hamilton ended up 5th on the grid, over 0.2 of a second behind Max Verstappen, who clinched pole position with a dazzling lap that outshone McLaren's Oscar Piastri. Reflecting on the race, Hamilton expressed regret over the lost opportunity, saying, "I just had understeer in turn 16 and lost the time that I had, probably cost me second place." Throughout the practice sessions leading up to qualifying, Ferrari emerged as a strong contender, showcasing both Hamilton and his teammate Charles Leclerc's speed. Despite being situated further down the order at the conclusion of qualifying 1, a result of a strategic decision made following a red flag incident, both drivers returned to form in qualifying 2, further solidifying Ferrari's competitiveness in the race. As Hamilton and Ferrari regroup ahead of the race, fans are left wondering how this qualifying setback will impact his performance on race day. The tension and anticipation surrounding the British Grand Prix continue to build, as supporters hope Hamilton can turn his luck around and capitalize on the strong pace demonstrated during practice. Stay tuned as we keep you updated on the latest developments in the Formula One world and Hamilton's journey through the season. As the session progressed, Hamilton showcased his resilience, finding another gear in the final moments before narrowly missing out on a top spot. Despite the slip-up, this performance signals promise for the 7-time champion, who managed to qualify ahead of competitor Charles Leclerc. In Hamilton's own words, "I'm pleased." He expresses satisfaction with both his progress and the newfound synergy with his engineer. Together, they've been working steadily to set the car up to its best potential. Hamilton felt significantly more comfortable in the car during the session, remarking that the lap was nearly perfect until a slight understeer in the last corner caused a setback. He reflected on what went wrong, saying, "I don't know if it's the curb that put me a little wide, but then I just lost it. I think it was just over a tenth, so that would definitely have put me on the front row." Hamilton will share the third row with teammate Leclerc, positioned one spot behind George Russell, who will line up on row 2 alongside McLaren's Lando Norris. In the broader context of the weekend, Hamilton topped the first practice session with an impressive display, finishing 3rd in the second practice. This consistent performance keeps him in the conversation as a serious contender, even as telemetry data suggests that Max Verstappen could emerge as a dark horse in the British. In a recent interaction, Hamilton confronted Martin Brundle, stating, "You don't have too many positive things always to say," highlighting the media narrative surrounding his performances. As the teams get ready for the British Grand Prix, there's a buzz of anticipation and hope that Hamilton can break through the barriers that have hindered him this season. Alongside exciting upgrades from teams like Haas and the ongoing assessments of Ferrari's potential, the stage is set for a thrilling race weekend ahead. Stay tuned as we continue to follow Hamilton's journey, the highs and lows of Formula One, and all the latest breaking news in the world of motorsport. Oliver Bearman found himself in the thick of controversy during the final practice session for the British Grand Prix. As tensions rose on the track, Bearman crashed while entering the pit, prompting a significant response from the FIA stewards. During this fateful session, Bearman was sitting in a strong 6th place when disaster struck. he lost a piece of bodywork from his Haas, which led to the first red flag being waved. Just as the session restarted, another incident involving Gabriel Bortoleto brought about a second red flag. Bortoleto lost control of his Sauber, ending up in the gravel after breaking his suspension on the track. As drivers were sent back into the pits under these red flag conditions, Bearman made a crucial mistake. He attacked the pit entry, losing control of his car and crashing into the barriers. This unfortunate turn of events resulted in significant damage to his car, including the front wing and nose. Witnessing this from behind was Max Verstappen, who couldn't believe his eyes. He exclaimed in shock, "Oh my God, someone just crashed in the pit entrance!" It was a stunning moment that highlighted the risks involved when drivers disregard safety protocols. In the aftermath, Bearman attributed his crash to cold brakes. However, the FIA wasn't sympathetic. They issued him a 10-place grid penalty along with 4 penalty points on his license. This punishment was a stark reminder of the importance of obeying red flag conditions during practice sessions. Before the FIA's decision, former F1 driver Anthony Davidson warned that Bearman might face serious repercussions. He remarked on the Sky F1 broadcast, "At the time it was under red flags, you can see clearly." Davidson's insights hinted at the stewards' intention to enforce strict penalties for infractions like these, especially when safety is at stake. As the racing community digests this verdict, it raises questions about implications for Bearman's future races and the standards that drivers must uphold to maintain safety on the track. The penalties serve not only as a consequence for Bearman, but as a broader cautionary tale for all drivers about the importance of following rules designed to protect everyone involved in the sport. Stay tuned as the dust settles from this incident, and we'll keep you updated on Bearman's racing journey moving forward. As the incident unfolds, it becomes clear that the drivers, including Oliver Bearman, were fully aware of the need to adhere to a slow speed when entering the pit lane during a red flag situation. Unfortunately, Bearman misjudged this crucial moment. His speed into the pit entry was excessive, leading to a brief loss of control and a spin, putting other drivers in a compromised position. When the red flags are out, safety must always be the #1 priority. Critics were quick to question whether Bearman's actions under these conditions were truly responsible. The stewards, upon reviewing the situation, concluded that his decision to accelerate significantly into the pit entry at 260 km per hour was a clear violation. They handed down a significant penalty, a 10-place grid drop, and 4 points on his super license. The official ruling explained that Bearman had failed to reduce his speed as required, calling into question his judgment in interpreting the regulations. Despite his assertion that the cold brakes contributed to the crash, the stewards did not find this to be a sufficient excuse for his dangerous driving. It's essential to recognize the implications of this ruling. Such penalties serve as a deterrent, reminding all drivers about the critical nature of compliance during red flags. Bearman's case illustrates the importance of understanding not just the rules, but the responsibility drivers have to themselves and their competitors. As the racing world moves forward from this incident, we must keep an eye on Bearman. Will he learn from this experience? Only time will tell. Meanwhile, the FIA's commitment to safety is clear, ensuring that all participants remain vigilant on the track. Stay connected for more updates on Bearman's journey and other significant events in the racing world. Remember, safety and adherence to regulations are paramount, especially in a sport